Welcome, everybody, to your magnetic messages. I hope you were here earlier when I was starting to share these and you found your way back up because when I first started, I didn't have any sound. So hopefully, I have sound now. If you are here, please let me know in the comments in the chat if you can hear me okay. It turns out I think it was a browser issue, classic Mercury retrograde, right? But actually, we're not here to talk about the retrograde right now. We're here to talk about the energy. So these messages found you because there is something for you in them. That's why I called it magnetic energy. And actually, I'm just going to check right now and see if I can hear myself. I can. Okay. It looks like it's working. Thank you so much to all of you who put in the comments and were patient with me that you couldn't hear me earlier. This is something new I'm trying. I'm trying to go live more to connect with you more directly. I have some fun announcements for you. And of course, I have these messages that are meant for you because if you found this video, then through law of attraction, you are here to hear these messages. Now, I will just say a quick reminder here. I always say a prayer of protection around these messages and they are meant for you to hear them when it's in your highest interest. So if something doesn't resonate with you, just leave it behind. But we do have this very powerful full moon that is apexing today. It's happening around 1:30 my time, which is central. So 2:30 Eastern. And it is a very powerful full moon. Now, you don't need to know anything about full moons to understand what this is bringing forth for you in your highest interest. But we are going to go into some messages that might help you realize what this full moon is revealing for you. So, let's go into these messages. And let me first start by saying you are very welcome here. Thank you to my subscribers that are always here. I'm always grateful for you for leaving comments in the video below. One of the things I wanted to go live today specifically was because I wanted to announce a quick change to the show you may have seen me on, Leading Out Loud. On Monday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific, I go live on a show called Leading Out Loud, LOL, with my friends Chris Reck at Minnow Pontero, Scott Cruz, and Christopher Witecki from Serious Joy, which I know many of you know me through Serious Joy. We are going to now be streaming that show only through the YouTube channel Leading Out Loud so that we can see all your comments in one place more easily. It will still probably be on some people's individual Facebook pages and things like that. But for YouTube, if you would like to join us at that show on Monday nights, every Monday night, going live at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, then please go to the Leading Out Loud channel. You can go to leadingoutloud.com as well, and that will point you directly to the channel, or you can just put it in the search on YouTube, Leading Out Loud, LOL, and you'll see us. Tonight, we're going to be having a great discussion about the energy of food and the intention behind eating and different topics like that. Of course, we'll have our energy report that we always give at the beginning. And it's always a fun time to connect with you guys there too. So I just wanted to mention that because I know some of you go to different channels to watch that show. And we are giving this a try to see if it's easier to keep up with you guys and see your questions by just going to Leading Out Loud, LOL, the channel on YouTube. Okay, thank you for your patience with that. Some other things that I'm wanting to do with these lives, I'm trying out some new things here with this energy. One of them is maybe doing some journaling time with you. How many of you find it hard to sit down and do some journaling? I'd love for you to journal with me. I'd love to offer you some journaling prompts. In fact, I do have some journaling prompts for you today with these messages. So if you have a journal handy, grab it or just grab a piece of paper. It's so important that we bring things into physical reality. This is part of the grounding that we are doing here with this. So we'll dive into these messages for you here in just a minute, but please let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Please let me know in the comments below if you're watching this later. And yes, I do try very hard to set the intention that these messages are meant for you anytime you come across them. So even if you watch this a month from now or a year from now, if something stands out, then it's meant for you. That's why we're calling them magnetic messages. I say we because I'm talking about my spiritual team who gave me that title this morning when I was thinking, how can we change this up a little bit? All right, let's dive into these messages now because there's so much coming forth for you with this full moon energy. But it's not just about the full moon, it's this energy in general. We are being asked to review and reevaluate things in our life, relationships, projects, and especially our daily routine. So we'll dive into that a little bit more about what they mean about that. But let's start off with the overall energy right now where there's something in your life that needs your attention. You need to make a decision about something, and maybe you've been procrastinating about making that decision, or maybe you simply don't have enough information to make that decision. Well, they want you to know that the big challenge here for you is being unwilling to move out of that stalemate energy. There's something you need to face. Now, this could be the fact that you have to tell somebody something that you know they're not going to like hearing, or you're having to face something that you've been turning a blind eye to, and it's going to create some conflict, or it's going to create the need to make some changes. But the main thing to know here is that, hi everybody, I see you in the chat there, RAKT and Linda and April. See, this is why I was hoping to try these chats this way, and maybe we'll do it at the same time, maybe not, because I want to be able to connect with you and answer your questions as well. So I will answer questions when we get there too at the end. But I wanted to start off by talking about these magnetic messages for you so that you'll know how to use this energy for your daily life, because it's a big deal right now that we're asking our heart, what in my daily life is not working for me anymore? Where is there a stalemate energy? Where is there something that my heart doesn't enjoy anymore? And that's what this full moon is bringing up. Now, you might already be aware this energy has been so powerful. Maybe something happened last week or in the last few days in a relationship or with a project, or maybe there was a mechanical breakdown. If you were here earlier, I had the issue with my microphone where I had no sound for it. Like, how long was I talking? 10 minutes with no sound. But those kinds of breakdowns, they lead to breakthrough if you choose to step back and review. So one of the things that I also wanted to announce is I am considering bringing back some things I used to do on my YouTube channel. I used to have a series called Devon's Chat, where I interviewed other light workers like yourself. If you're here, you are a light worker. You don't have to call yourself that professionally, but you were called here for a reason, because it's time for your light to shine bigger. And one of the things I would do on my Devon's Chat is I would interview these light workers. And I'm definitely bringing that back in some format. I just haven't decided how. And that's why with this energy, we're being asked to review and reevaluate and see how you can revitalize something. So also think of revitalizing, shining light on something in a brighter way, the way that the full moon shines in the sky so bright. So what's coming up for you when you think, okay, my heart is not in this the way it used to be? For me personally, one of them has been my exercise routine. I love working out. I love my daily walks. But I'm looking for something a little more exciting. And so I think, okay, well, I used to love playing tennis. Maybe I need to go back to playing tennis. I used to love kickboxing. Maybe I should go back to that. What are the things that I want to go back to from my past and review and reevaluate and say, do I want to bring this back into my life, or do I want to try something completely different? One thing I know for sure is I want to spice up my exercise routine. Now, for you, this could be something totally different, spicing up the way that you approach your meals. Maybe you want to try new recipes, try new things. Maybe you want to change things in a relationship that you have with a colleague, a boss, or even a romantic one. These things are going to come to the surface for you to face. And we want to make sure we're not turning a blind eye to it. Okay, good. I see. Oh, more love 1965. Woohoo sound. Thank you for your patience. It turns out that I think my browser was blocking it. So, little hiccups like that. I thought I'd given it permission, and I guess it got reset. Back to the angel messages. I am so appreciative of you being here in the chat. Thank you very much. They want to really commend you, your spiritual team, your passed away loved ones, your guardian angels. They see the way you have had to really draw on some inner strength lately to face something. Maybe you had to have a difficult conversation with a person in your life. Maybe you've had to admit to yourself you're not happy with something in your work, in your relationship, something like that. Maybe it's something even in your home that you're realizing, oh, this is going to take a lot of work, but this needs to change. I need to reorganize this. I need to approach this differently. And they're commending you on drawing on that inner strength. But as you face these challenges that they're talking about, as you say, okay, you know what? I'm done turning a blind eye to this. I'm done procrastinating. I'm going to face this issue. It could be something as simple as cleaning out the attic, right? Maybe there's stuff in the attic, you just need to go ahead and release. And this is a great energy for that. But you are trying to figure out, how can I get this done and still have everything else in my daily routine flow smoothly? That's just a little example. I did a big clean out with my daughter's closet the other day, and I didn't realize how much stuff had collected in there. And it was just such a big project. But I realized that it was starting to really bother me, and I needed to approach it in a grounded fashion. And this is where they're talking about right now is you need to bring a lot more grounding energy into your projects and your relationships. That means spending quiet time alone to do this reflection. This means getting outside in nature. This means taking a balanced approach. So let's say you do want to clean out that closet, that garage, or that attic. Is there a way that you can do it a little bit at a time? Maybe you're just spending 10 minutes a day doing something with it, or an hour a day, whatever that is for you, and not trying to get it all done in one Saturday where you end up exhausted and then you feel like you didn't have any fun that weekend. You didn't get to get your energy back to get ready for the week. And these are the things they're asking you to do right now. But they're also asking about your daily routine. So something in your daily routine is becoming a burden as well. It's a little out of balance. So what's the first thing that came to mind for you? Are you spending too much time on a work project that's not going anywhere? Are you spending too much time in meetings or in driving around town getting errands run? And there's a more efficient way to do it. Well, this is where the angels want you to know that if you do some research, if you look into more innovative ways of handling this, you're going to get that aha moment very soon. In fact, they're saying within the next few days, you will see, oh, I have been doing this the hard way. There's an easier way to do it. But one of the things they want to make sure we're watching out for is not falling into self-fulfilling prophecies and expecting the worst. So before I dive deeper into these messages, I want to check in with all of you in the comments. Yes, thank you so much for being here and being patient with the sound. Yes, Linda, it has been so hot where we are too. It's hard to get outside and do a lot of those things. I've been trying to focus. Like I said, we did my daughter's closet. I was working on my closet earlier in the week because I like doing that. Actually, when I'm feeling frazzled, what's actually grounding for me is to organize. And I do think that that's probably the case for a lot of people. Is when we start to have a lot of clutter around us, we do feel the energy of that clutter, even if it's something we're able to turn a blind eye to for a little bit. And maybe that's why they're bringing that up. But I agree, it's just been so hot lately. Okay, more love says she has a feeling she's going to be moving. So you're organizing and cleaning. Wow, interesting, that pull. And that was actually going to be one of my prompts today, was talking about, where does your heart feel like it belongs, and where in your life do you feel like you don't belong anymore? And for some of us, we don't belong in a certain location anymore. We've outgrown it, or we're just seeking more adventure. So one of the messages the angels brought through is that if you're feeling bored with something, that's your sign right there that you need to do more. And you need to stop procrastinating and face that issue that you're bored. That doesn't mean that you're giving up on a project, that you're giving up on a relationship, that you're giving up on something, a habit is healthy for you. It just means you need to shift it. And that's why I was saying about with my workouts, I would love to have something that brought in that same adrenaline feeling that I got with kickboxing or tennis, but maybe I want to try something totally different. And I have some ideas. I've been putting it out there to the universe. Okay, angels, show me a loud and clear sign. If there's a place I need to go try, there's a group I need to join to get back that excitement of being out there. More Love says, I just feel like it's been 18 or years slogging along, hopeful for success in a new path. Good for you. Yeah, that's why they were talking about what we want to do is stop procrastinating. We want to do some research. We want to see where might you feel you belong. And this is where visualizations can be really good too. But if you are feeling that, then that's an energy right there where you could just get online and start watching videos of different places and seeing what your heart lights up about. Does your heart light up at the idea of living close to an ocean or up in the mountains. Just doing those visualizations alone can really help with that stalemate energy that we need to break down. Um, Linda saying 12 rooms for disaster strategically. Yes, organizing inventory. I know that feeling too. I will make lists and I'm like, okay, what's the highest priority? Since I knew I had to get my daughter's closet ready for school, so she could start school again, I put that as a priority. But I do have some stuff I need to do in my office. This is motivating me to do it too. So let's go back into these magnetic messages for you. Again, like I said, if you're here, it's because there are messages for you. You were drawn to listen to these videos, to these messages at any time that you hear them. And I also have a pocket affirmation for you. For those of you who know me already, you know I like to do short, easy to remember affirmations that you could even write and put in your pocket and carry around with you. So I call them pocket affirmations. And you may have heard this one before. It's one of my favorite ones, but especially dealing with this energy they're talking about is everything always works out for me. So I invite you to write in the comments below this video, everything always works out for me. Affirm that right now as things are revealed to us with this full moon energy, as we have these little hiccups with this retrograde energy. Trust that everything always works out for me will help you get through that, because one of the things that we want to watch out for over these next few weeks is we want to avoid expecting the worst. We want to avoid those sleepless nights. So it might be great to grab that journal and start making a to-do list. Keep it by your nightstand. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and think about something, you can write it down and get it off your mind so you don't have those sleepless nights. But let's go ahead and put some practices in place right now to avoid those self-fulfilling prophecies and say everything always works out for me. All right, good. So that's our pocket affirmation there. Yes, I see what you're talking about, Linda, there too. Yeah, we want to just break free from fear, and we want to look to see where, if there is a stalemate energy, it could be that we're fearful of facing an issue. But it could just be that we don't even realize we're wanting something more challenging. We're wanting something new. I think that's the other part is if your heart isn't lighting up about the idea of doing something, that's something to sit down and journal about, to ask, like, why am I not as excited as I used to be about this project? And it doesn't mean we're just throwing it all out the door, but it might mean that it needs to be uh, looked at differently, revamped, refreshed. Those kinds of things will help. And you don't have to have all the answers right away. That's the other part they want me to show you is a lot of times when we realize, okay, we need to face this energy right now, I have to get all these things done right away, or I have to make this decision right away. What we're really doing is we're making the decision to take on that boredom or take on that fear and shift that energy. That's really what you're deciding to do right now. You don't have to actually take action on it right away. Um, yes. So you go to Linda has a notepad pad you keep close. Yeah. Um, Hi, Patty. Oh, you're with Sensei and one of the Diamond Clubs. Girl, thank you for being here. So are you doing a lot of journaling? Because that's the thing too that I'm really wanting to see if would be beneficial to you all, is to do some journal with me videos. Maybe we just get together and journal together. I can give you some prompts. I am going to start offering more journaling prompts. I used to do that quite a bit in my newsletters, which, by the way, if you're not already signed up for my free newsletter, you can go to devonduerr.com and sign up there. And you'll get my free ebook, Is It a Sign? And that'll help you work through learning how to interpret signs from your spiritual team. I get that question all the time. I think this was a sign. Was it a sign? What did it mean? And I guide you through that process in that free ebook. So feel free to get that if you haven't already. Plus, it helps you stay up to date. If you are just now joining us, one little update I also had for you is that tonight's Leading Out Loud will be streaming from the Leading Out Loud channel. So if you normally watch it on Sirius Joy TV or on my channel or something like that, please go check out the Leading Out Loud channel tonight. We will be going live at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. We're talking about all kinds of fun things, the energy of food, intentional eating, all those kinds of things. Plus, of course, our surf report that we always do. And I just wanted to mention that to you because I know that's going to be a change for a lot of you who normally watch that on Serious Joy TV. It's just going to be on the other channel, Leading Out Loud, because we want to have all the comments in one place so we can see your questions and respond more easily. In fact, we are going to be doing a frequently asked question video coming up soon too. So make sure you put your questions in the comments tonight so we can see those. But also feel free to ask me any questions here in the chat as I am sharing these messages with you, because that's another reason I'm hoping to start doing more of these lives, is so that I can answer your questions in real time. Or if you want to, if you're watching this later, if you want to put them in the comments below this video, I'll try to circle back in the next live and answer them. That's another thing I'm thinking about bringing back, is I used to do a lot more Q&As than I've been doing, and things just got really busy. So thank you for your patience with that. And let's dive back into these magnetic messages for you. So when I say magnetic messages, the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of you do actually get messages from a passed away loved one, a beloved grandparent. You'll get messages from your guardian angel. You might get messages from, maybe you work with some other kind of spirit guide. And so I want you to feel free to whatever energy you feel comfortable connecting to that's high vibration, that you can trust that message is coming through for you in that manner. So I don't want to interpret these messages for you. I want to share them with you and then give you the opportunity to know, okay, that was for me, that wasn't for me. And that's always my intention, is if it doesn't resonate with you, leave it behind. Again, you shouldn't be feeling any fear when you hear these messages. If anything, you might feel like, oh, okay, that message was for me. I know I've been turning a blind eye. I got to deal with it, but there shouldn't be fear. It should just be acceptance and a knowing of what they're talking about there. Okay, so I hear from more love says, my Scorpio self remembers the 2007 Aquarius new moon in July, and since then it was chaos, and maybe today is the shift. Wow, it was chaos since 2007. That's a lot. Yeah, and there has been so much shift going on. I do think we're all going through a huge shift right now, but it's so easy to step out of the chaos when you practice on a daily basis. And that's why I think they're asking us so much with our daily routine. What could you change? Do you think that would be good to start adding more affirmations to your day? Do you need to be adding more time for meditation? Do you need to be adding more time for journaling? Journaling is huge for me because it gives you that gift of hindsight. That's what I always say, is when you're developing your intuitive abilities, use that powerful gift of hindsight. Write down the signs you're getting, write down what you think it means, and then you can connect the dot and see the way you're being guided. I have so many journals full of ways that the angels were guiding me to things by introducing me to a person who later led me to another connection there. I got a job opportunity. Those kinds of things happened, and I have it all written down and I can map it out. Um, and then I'm validating the fact that I am being divinely guided and that everything is always working out for me. So this full moon is going to be showing us what no longer belongs in our life. But the main thing they want you to do is open your heart to that divine guidance. Really trust being in divine flow. So I'll give you another one of my favorite pocket affirmations to use with this energy, so that if it does start to feel chaotic, this is my favorite one. I know you've heard me say it so many times. I am in divine flow. That's where we just release and let go and trust. I am in divine flow. I use this at least once a day. A lot of times I use it in traffic. A lot of times I use it when traveling, where things are out of my control, like at the airport where you can't control if the plane is delayed or anything is going on. So please trust that there are some very simple ways for you to ground yourself. It doesn't have to be this huge routine. In fact, that brings up another thing I wanted to say in the chat here today, or I wanted to share with you live. I get a lot of questions about, well, I don't know if I'm getting signs from my angels, or I don't know if I'm being divinely guided, or I don't know who's on my spiritual team. And a lot of times, because people think that they have to have this huge experience to know who is on their team, to know that they're connected with the angels. And that's actually not the case. A lot of the messages we get are so subtle. They're not in your face. They're not abrupt, and they're easy to miss, or they're easy to dismiss as not being real signs. So when you track them in one place in a journal, then you go and see all the times you got those signs, then you can't deny it. That's why one of my favorite things to do is to keep track of numbers when I see number sequences. And I know we've talked about this on other videos, but when I started tracking my numbers in a journal, I was filling up so many pages and I was getting more and more and more numbers. Like one day I would see 444 three times. And then the next day I would see 444 three times and 333 five times. And then the next day it would be more and more and more. And those are the things that we want to give ourselves credit for noticing, that we stopped, we noticed. But another thing that we want to make sure we're doing is we're looking for other signs at the same time. Okay, so you saw that 333. What were you just thinking about? Who were you just talking to? There was probably something else that your team was trying to give you a heads up, or hey, pay attention to this. And we don't want to dismiss those things out there. We want to pay attention and pause and give it that feeling. And it doesn't. So again, it's not as big as an enormous angel appearing in your living room and taking up the whole living room, right? I do have a message. I do have a video on my YouTube channel where I share where I did have angels show up in my bedroom when I was 19 years old. It was very powerful. I didn't share it publicly for several years. I only shared it with my mentors and my family. But one of the things about starting to share that story when I got older is that people were waiting to have that same experience, and then when they weren't, they were going, "Well, I guess I don't have a connection with my spiritual team." But this is where my goal is to teach you how to track all the subtle signs in one place and understand how you communicate with your spiritual team. All right. So thank you for your patience with me on that. I wanted to check to see if anybody else had any other questions in there. Oh, you're doing your prayer, your workout, your affirmations, Linda. Great. Singing the prayer affirmations. Yes, I do that too, especially if I'm having a hard time feeling the affirmation. I'll try to sing it to just shift the energy. I'll, put on music and dance in my living room and sing it and say it and just really feel it, do something to shake up my energy. That's a great tip. Thank you, Linda. So let's go back into these magnetic messages for you. Let's see here. I'm getting a question on my computer about something. So, okay. So moving on to the messages for you. The main thing they also want you to do is to protect the things you've already created that your heart wants. They don't want you to give up on a project your heart wants, on a relationship your heart wants, on a lifestyle your heart wants. Don't give up, even if this full moon in this energy is revealing to you what's not working. It simply means there's probably a better approach to it. Now, there might be things that we need to move away from. There are things that it's time to move on. I know somebody mentioned maybe moving away from where they've been living. Maybe somebody's been putting off having to have those difficult conversations with family members. But until you face that situation, then you aren't going to be able to really move on energetically. Sometimes we have that conversation with the passed away loved one. We sit down and we write a letter to that person because they can feel that energy. And I know that that's one of the reasons that I really encourage journaling so much, is we can actually come to the end of a situation by journaling about it and releasing it and receive closure in that way. So, what's coming to mind for you when you hear it's time to move on? There's something that you need to release, which is, of course, with a full moon, we are releasing. But there is something that's really important for you to identify. Okay, I could be doing this differently. I need to get this project out there. I need to stop procrastinating. A lot of times releasing something is releasing a creative project. And I am getting that for some of you listening now or later, you're procrastinating on getting something out there into the world and showing the world something your heart wants to show, because maybe you don't feel like it's ready. Maybe you feel like it's not quite the way you want it yet. And sometimes we can't figure out what's blocking us until we just take that leap of faith. But whatever that is, please trust that you have this divine support available to you. I do have my weekly angel messages that I'm now releasing on Thursdays. I used to do it on Sundays, that will update any of these messages for you. So always feel free to come back and listen anytime. And I'd also love to hear if you have any other topics you'd like for me to discuss. I'm going to start bringing back some more of my topic videos. I do have several videos on my channel right now that will help you learn how to track your intuition, learn how to connect with your angels, all the things that you might be interested in doing. And then, of course, I do want to be able to answer your questions. So, yes, patience is key this week too. Thank you, Linda. That's a big message I was getting for the entire month of August. Right now, at the time I'm recording these messages, oh, it's 11:55 my time. Right at the time that I'm recording these messages, it is it is an energy that is kind of squeezing us. Okay, so if you feel pressure, then the angels are asking you and your spiritual team is asking you to take a break from whatever it is you're doing. Stand up, go outside for 5 minutes. If you can do that, or go do something, go watch some funny videos. I keep a puzzle going in my living room so I can sit down for 5 minutes and, maybe I'm waiting on dinner to finish cooking and I'm sitting down doing it there. And it gets me out of whatever stressful energy I've been feeling. I also have been really working. What I'll share with you, one of the things I'm working on doing too with my daily routine is adding more playtime. I'm a Capricorn rising. For those of you who are into astrology, we tend to really be disciplined and organized with our routine and the way we do things. And I tend to be the person that, okay, I have to get these 10 things done and then I get to have fun. And then I find that sometimes I feel creatively blocked. And one of the things I've been working on doing is if I don't feel creative, if I'm sitting down to work on something, I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. I will give myself permission to go do something I feel like doing for at least a little while. Maybe it is I feel like going and working on that puzzle, or maybe it is I feel like going and reading a book or watching a show, just to shift out of that energy and knowing that when I come back and I feel in a flow, I'll get a lot more done. And that's what I've actually found with a lot of this work, this divine flow. When we work with divine flow, is a lot of times I will feel so much creative energy. I will actually get 10 things done. And I just waited for that moment. And then I actually I end up getting ahead. Whereas if I sat there and tried to force myself to be creative, I just wasted time. I added more dense energy to my aura, and it made it harder for me to get out of it later, especially if you're wanting to be there for loved ones and other people in your life. Um, yeah, so if others are not moving, how am I reflecting? Yeah, I understand that too. I understand that too. So that's actually a good question there. How do you handle it when you're ready to move on from something, you're ready to release, but other people in your life are not willing to let go? They don't want you to go. They're not taking no for an answer. They're not being willing to draw that boundary, whatever that is for you. Well, this is where you need to find other ways in your life to go get that feeling of moving on. So that could be taking up a new hobby, that could be starting a new creative project. I use this example a lot. If you listen to my angel messages, one of my favorite movies, I don't really have a favorite movie, but one of the ones I'll go back and watch a lot, because there's not very many movies I'll watch a second time because I remember them and I don't want to watch it again. But one of the ones I will is Under the Tuscan Sun with Diane Lane. I love that. And there's a line in there where she is crying over another broken heart. And this friend of hers says, "Go work on your house and forget about it." And that's what she does. And Under the Tuscan Sun, if you've seen it, she goes and works on this villa in Tuscany. And if you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. And she goes and gets very creative in other ways. She goes and starts learning to cook. She goes and remodels her home. And then all of a sudden, this love of her life appears because she went to work on her house and forget about it. So if you're in a situation, Linda, where there's someone else in your life blocking you from moving on, where can you go do something else to get creative? And I do find that works for me. If I'm feeling like, let's say there's something going on with one of my kids where I'm worrying about them, and a lot of times that happens, right? If for those of you who have kids, is there's something out of your control, but you're protective of your kid. You don't want to see them go through a struggle or something like that. Well, if I go focus on something my heart wants to create, I find the energy releases, and more often than not, my kid will figure it out on their own without me having to do too much. nagging, as they might put it, or reminding to them of how they need to handle something, or the better way to handle it, I should say. And that goes for work projects too. Like if I'm doing a collaboration with somebody and they're not, like, for to your point, Linda, they're not moving on. Oh, I want it done this way or whatever. Then I go work on my own project, or I go do something with my family, and I just get away from that energy altogether. So where can you create that sense of moving on in another part of your life? That would be a way to kind of unblock that energy. And everybody has their own path that they're on, that they're not ready to release things. But when you set an example, you show that you're willing to shine your light. You show that you're willing to release things that no longer serve you. Eventually, that energy comes back full circle, and you're able to do that. Andrea Williams says, yes, redirecting focus is great. There's always work being done in the background after an intention is set. That is so wonderfully said, Andrea. Thank you. Or Andrea, if I'm saying it wrong. That's the thing too, is what you focus on expands, right? So if we're focusing on how this person isn't letting us move on, then we're continuing to add that block there. Whereas if we just go, fine, you know what? They'll figure it out when it's their time. I'm going to move on. And this is where I like to do the whole agree to disagree thing in my mind. You might not be able to say that to somebody, but if you see somebody really holding on to their belief about something that you totally disagree with, then I would just say, I'm not gonna put myself in that conversation and have that conversation. I'm gonna agree to disagree, and I'm gonna go do something else. So I know we're gonna be seeing a lot of that, especially with the elections coming up here in the US. We're gonna be seeing a lot more of that fighting. And so make sure you're holding a lot of space for yourself. Quiet time alone, journaling, all of those things. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the messages, the magnetic messages for you. Let me just look back over my notes and see if I forgot to mention anything that was coming up for me. But feel free to ask any questions you have in the chat here before we sign off. And again, one more reminder, we will be having Leading Out Loud live tonight on the Leading Out Loud channel. Just a quick, easy way to get there is type in leadingoutloud.com. It'll point you right to the channel, but you can also search for it. And then also, yeah, I want to hear from you. Would you like to do some journaling with me? Would that be beneficial for us to get on here and journal together? Do you need help with prompts? Do you need help with writing custom affirmations? All those things I'm hoping to bring back. I have all this curriculum sitting on my computer from when I used to teach in-person classes that I'm thinking about refreshing, revitalizing, and bringing this way so that we can work together on it. But yes. So here's the other thing. Oh, you're welcome, Linda. Here's the other thing I wanted to mention too is, well, now it just left my mind. So it'll come back in just a minute. But the thing about patience was key. And I know what I wanted to talk about. And I think a lot of you do find me through astrology things too. But my background is more in divine connection, journaling, automatic writing, and all that. But if something important comes up from the astrology side, I will point it out. So in case you are new to astrology, this particular full moon, it's revealing somewhere in our life where we don't feel we belong anymore, and it's time to let it go, especially if our heart it used to be really attached to it and it's not anymore. And that's why they were bringing up the energy of, okay, are you bored? If you're bored, that's a sign that there's a better way to do something, or you're looking to be more challenged. So a lot of times that's when I'll just get on YouTube and I'll start watching what other people are doing. I'll get new ideas. Like my husband loves to cook. He's always watching cooking videos on YouTube and making us delicious, like his version of something he saw. Like that's where he gets a lot of his creative energy from. I used to do a lot more cooking, but I personally tend to get on and look for more efficient ways to do things. Like for example, learning how to do this type of work more efficiently, editing videos, podcasting, those kinds of things. But I used to spend a lot more time gardening, and now I'm wanting to bring that back into my daily routine. That's another one. Is I've decided I want to revitalize my vegetable gardens. They've kind of fallen by the wayside over these last busy years for me, and I want to redo those. So I get online and I start watching gardening videos, and I go, oh, I never thought of, making the vegetable bed that way and growing it in that method. And so all those kinds of things can help you if you're feeling bored or stuck. So let me just check the chat here to see if there were any other questions. Yes, Linda, union with self. And that's the thing. That's what we're being asked to do, is to remember that we are all connected. But the first thing we have to do is really feel that self love, really feel connected on the inside. And then that energy shines out and it begins to affect those around us and bring in the change we want. So thank you, April, for being here. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. More love. I'm going to try to do more of these lives. So feel free to put suggestions in the comments for topics if you'd like to have a discussion about something. And like I said, please stay tuned if you're not already to my free newsletter on devonduerr.com, because I might be bringing back my coffee chats. I might be bringing back Devon's chat. So we'll see what's coming out there. But for this energy now, I'll just say to you, I'm wishing you a very happy full moon. I'm wishing you an amazing week. And I really hope to see you on Leading Out Loud tonight and on my other videos. If you have any questions for me, please stay in touch. I love seeing you. And remember, take time every day to connect with the angels. Bye, everybody.